Hey everybody, Madeline here to talk about today's astrology with a focus specifically on Mercury, which is about to station retrograde on the 15th in the sign of Aries at 9 degrees in conjunction with Venus, which is also in retrograde at 9 or 8 degrees. I will share the chart and show you what I am saying. This is an interesting time because all the planets are very close together, signifying major shifts and changes occurring in our lives because they're happening at the end of, we're having all these planets line up in Pisces, which is wrapping something up, which is ending something, dissolving an old cycle, an old pattern in our lives, and completely a new, we're about to enter a whole new life because then all these planets are entering into Aries. And so we're having these major shifts going on in our lives where something is ending and new beginnings are coming in. And then at the same time, we've got two planets going retrograde over the same part of our charts, this Pisces Aries cusp. So Mercury is communication, business, internet, media, short distance travel. In Aries, it's impulsive. It can be rash. It can be not thinking first, speaking second. Now Venus is about business agreements, partnerships, marriage, relationships, romance, friendships, um, clients. So then we have this in retrograde, both of these together in retrograde, which means we're reevaluating, reassessing, going back and and reevaluating what happened during the part of the sky before it went retrograde. So we're going back over that part of the sky in our charts, which is back over that Aries and Pisces cusp, which is back over the area that is completely going away and ending, and going over the part where the new part is coming in. So before we can go forward, we have to resolve something involving communication, business contracts, clients, marriage, relationships, because when Mercury and Venus are together, it's partnership agreements with Mercury, which is contracts coming together in retrograde. So a lot of things, unresolved issues from the past involving those things, people are fated, that are fated for our future, that are really a part of the new beginning, or we're in retrograde and we're seeing what we really need to end, what agreements aren't going to work out for us, and what partnerships aren't going to work out for us, so we can completely resolve them before we go forward. But most importantly, we're learning something. We're becoming, shall we say, evolved past some sort of issue that was coming up during the planet's indirect motion during that part of the sky. So in other words, before all these new beginnings can occur, we have to resolve some sort of issues from the past involving media, communication, agreements, partnerships, marriage, friendships. So the most important thing to do when these two planets are in retrograde is to take things slowly, to think carefully, it's going to be hard to really be able to communicate clearly because Mercury moves very quickly and it will be back in Pisces very soon, which is debilitated. Although Venus will be back in Pisces. Let's get to that. When do they all hit Pisces again? So they're going to be all in, Mercury will be back in Pisces here on with Venus in March 30th. So around that 29th, on that eclipse, it will move back into Pisces. So from now until then, we are going back over an area of our chart where our communications in our agreement partnerships have to be reassessed and reevaluated and reclarified. But often Venus in retrograde puts us back into connection with what we really desire. So it is possible that we become more connected to something internal that we truly desire. Clarity comes to us about what we do desire before that Mercury goes into Pisces, where we become really unclear. And then we're able to sort of reflect on what we do want and what we really need, shall we say, the improvements we need to make in our agreements and in our communication abilities in these agreements, in these partnerships, in these marriages, or in these friendships. So we're reevaluating how we communicate in these important relationships. So now this is important because we can't go forward to these new beginnings. These are going to be areas in our lives that have to be ironed out within us. Some sort of healing has to happen, or some sort of understanding has to happen as to why we make these sort of repeat errors, or these repeat issues occur in our lives. We have to have some sort of understanding to how to break those patterns before we can continue into the new cycle, so that we're not carrying these patterns on with us. So try not to rush around in these energies. Try to take it slow and not and to use this, because that Aries energies can be very impulsive. So you want to try not to be impulsive with decisions right now, because you may end up, because this is not a time for really making important decisions when these planets are in retrograde. It's really a time for really reevaluating the decisions that we've made, and how we have communicated, and how our side of the agreement and conflict resolve, how our skills in that, where are we, how well have we done in those areas, and how can we improve them, or how do we fix these? All right, I hope that was helpful. Namaste.